Welcome, dear readers, to another electrifying installment from the TV Days Drama Digest channel. Buckle up, because the residents of Salem are spiraling into a vortex of revelations, heartbreak, and desperate last-minute dashes that could change everything. The bombshell has finally dropped. The truth about Tesoro's parentage has shattered the fragile peace of our favorite fictional town. Tesoro, the innocent child at the heart of the storm, is Sophia's daughter, but not Tate's. The fallout from this revelation is seismic, threatening to reshape relationships and unearth long-buried secrets. Will this truth pave the way for a heart-wrenching reunion between Holly and Tate, or will it drive them further apart? Let's dive into the chaos, dissect the drama, and explore the emotional roller coaster that awaits. Grab your tissues, this is going to be a wild ride. A town on the brink of chaos. Salem has never been a stranger to scandal, but this latest twist has left its residents reeling. The revelation that Tesoro is not Tate's child has sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community, unraveling trust and igniting old wounds. For weeks, whispers and sidelong glances have followed Sophia, Tate, and Holly wherever they go. The truth, once a closely guarded secret, now hangs heavy in the air, impossible to ignore. Sophia's carefully constructed facade has crumbled, exposing her deception to the world. But how did we get here, and what does this mean for the future of these star-crossed lovers? It all began with a lie that Sophia wove with meticulous care. For months, she allowed Tate to believe he was Tesoro's father, a belief that tethered him to her even as his heart yearned for Holly. The deception was a masterstroke, designed to keep Tate by her side and drive a wedge between him and Holly. But secrets in Salem have a way of clawing their way to the surface, and this one was no exception. The truth emerged during a heated confrontation at the Brady pub, where Sophia's former confidant, Marlena, pieced together inconsistencies in her story. With a single, piercing question, "Why did you lie about the paternity test?" Marlena unraveled Sophia's web, leaving her exposed and vulnerable. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Tate, blindsided by the revelation, stood frozen as the world he thought he knew collapsed around him. Holly, who had been quietly nursing her broken heart, was nowhere to be found when the truth came to light. She had already made a decision that would shake the foundation of their story, to leave Salem behind and start anew in Paris, far from the pain and betrayal that had become her daily reality. Holly's heartbreaking departure. The airport was a blur of hurried footsteps and muffled announcements as Holly stood at the gate, her suitcase at her side and her heart in pieces. Salem, once a place of hope and love, had become a suffocating reminder of everything she'd lost. The decision to leave hadn't come easily. Nights spent staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment with Tate, had left her drained and defeated. The pain of believing Tate had betrayed her with Sophia was too much to bear, and the news that he was supposedly Tesoro's father had been the final straw. Paris, with its promise of a fresh start and a reunion with her mother, Nicole, beckoned like a lifeline. As Holly handed her boarding pass to the gate agent, her eyes glistened with unshed tears. She glanced back one last time, half hoping to see a familiar face, half dreading it. The weight of her decision pressed down on her, but she steeled herself, whispering, "This is for the best." Little did she know, the truth was racing toward her, carried on the frantic footsteps of the boy she'd never stopped loving. Tate's desperate pursuit. Back in Salem, Tate was drowning in a sea of regret and confusion. The cozy living room of the Horton house, usually a haven of warmth, felt cold and empty as he sat hunched over his phone, scrolling through photos of him and Holly. Each image was a dagger to his heart, her radiant smile, the way her eyes lit up when she laughed, the quiet moments they'd stolen under the stars. How had it all gone so wrong? His best friend, Aaron, tried to snap him out of his reverie, tossing a jacket onto the couch and muttering, "You've got to move on, man." But Tate was deaf to his advice, lost in memories of a love that felt just out of reach. Ari, ever the perceptive one, wasn't about to let Tate wallow in silence. She perched on the arm of the couch, her voice sharp with accusation. So, what's the deal with you and Sophia? Don't tell me you're still pretending it was just a kiss. Tate's head snapped up, his brows furrowing in confusion. What are you talking about? He demanded. Ari's eyes narrowed, and she dropped the bombshell that would change everything. Sophia's been telling everyone you two slept together. She's got half the town believing you're Tesoro's dad. The words hit Tate like a freight train. His heart pounded as the pieces fell into place. Sophia's lies, the whispers behind his back, Holly's sudden distance. He bolted upright, his phone clattering to the floor. That's not true, he shouted, his voice raw with desperation. I would never, but Ari wasn't done. She leaned in, her voice low and urgent. Holly's leaving, Tate. She's dropping out of school and moving to Paris. If you don't stop her, you're going to lose her for good. The room spun as Tate processed the news. Holly leaving? The thought was unbearable. Without another word, he grabbed his jacket and sprinted out the door, his heart hammering in his chest. The airport was his only destination, and time was slipping away. A race against time. The streets of Salem blurred past as Tate sped toward the airport, his mind a whirlwind of fear and determination. Every second felt like an eternity, each red light a cruel obstacle in his path. He could still see Holly's face, the way she'd looked at him the last time they spoke, hurt, betrayed, but still with a flicker of love in her eyes. He couldn't let her go, not like this, not without her knowing the truth. The airport terminal was a chaotic maze of travelers and rolling suitcases, but Tate's focus was singular. Holly, he shouted, his voice echoing through the crowded space. Heads turned, but he didn't care. He pushed through the throng, scanning every face, every corner, until he spotted her near the gate, her back to him as she prepared to board. Holly, wait. She froze, her shoulders tensing at the sound of his voice. Slowly, she turned, and the sight of her stole the breath from his lungs. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her expression a mix of shock and guarded hope. Tate, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the din of the airport. He closed the distance between them in a heartbeat, his hands trembling as he reached for her. The baby's not mine, he said, the words tumbling out in a rush. Sophia lied. She made it all up to keep us apart. Holly, please, you have to believe me. Holly's eyes widened, a storm of emotions flickering across her face, disbelief, anger, hope. What are you saying? She asked, her voice shaking. All this time, you didn't. No, Tate said, his voice breaking. He cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs brushing away the tears that had begun to fall. I would never betray you. I love you, Holly. I've always loved you. Don't get on that plane. Stay with me. A heart-wrenching decision. The airport seemed to fade away, the noise and chaos melting into the background as Holly stared into Tate's eyes. The truth hung between them, raw and undeniable, but it wasn't enough to erase the months of pain and doubt. She wanted to believe him, wanted to fall into his arms and let the world right itself, but the scars of betrayal ran deep. Sophia's lies had torn them apart, and the wounds were still fresh. I don't know if I can do this, Holly whispered, her voice barely above a breath. I want to believe you, Tate, but I'm so tired of hurting. Paris, it's a chance to start over, to be with my mom, to find myself again. Tate's heart shattered at her words, but he refused to let go. Then let me come with you, he said, his voice fierce with determination. We'll figure it out together. I don't care where we are, as long as I'm with you. Please, Holly, give us a chance. The gate agent's voice crackled over the intercom, announcing the final boarding call for Holly's flight. The weight of the moment pressed down on them, a ticking clock that demanded a decision. Holly's gaze darted between Tate and the gate, her heart torn between the safety of escape and the risk of love. The reunion that could change everything. What happens next? Will Holly board the plane, leaving Tate and Salem behind to heal her wounds in Paris? Or will she take a leap of faith, trusting in Tate's love and the truth that has finally set them free? The stakes have never been higher, and the residents of Salem are holding their breath, waiting to see how this drama unfolds. One thing is certain: the revelation of Tesoro's true parentage has changed the game. Sophia's lies have been exposed, but the damage she's caused lingers like a shadow. Tate and Holly's love, once unbreakable, now hangs by a thread, tested by mistrust and time. Yet, in the midst of this chaos, there's a glimmer of hope, a chance for a reunion that could mend their broken hearts and rewrite their future. As we wait for the next chapter in this saga, we can't help but wonder, is love enough to overcome the pain of betrayal? Can Tate and Holly find their way back to each other, or will the scars of the past keep them apart forever? And what of Sophia, whose deception has left her isolated and exposed? Will she seek redemption, or will she double down on her schemes, dragging Salem deeper into her web of lies? Join the conversation. Here at TV Days Drama Digest, we're obsessed with every twist and turn of this heart-pounding story. What do you think, dear readers? Should Holly stay and fight for her love with Tate, or is Paris the fresh start she needs? Will Sophia's actions come back to haunt her, or will she find a way to claw her way back into Tate's life? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.